In this presentation, we'll take a look at some accounts receivable and accounts payable graphs within QuickBooks Online. We will be using Excel, so we'll be exporting reports and generating these graphs within Excel. Here we are in our free test drive file for Craig's Design and Landscaping. We're now going to be taking a look at some other common graphs. These are graphs that in the desktop version you typically have in the reports section, and but you do have limited options there. So really it's nicer if you can take the data and actually generate these graphs, as we'll do here by exporting this information to Excel. They could be impressive to people to have the graphs. They could be useful for your PowerPoint presentations if you how you're going to present the data as well. So let's take a look at some other common graphs that we would have. If we go down to our reports, we're going to take a look at our reports. We got the accounts receivable and accounts payable that we're going to be considering now. So if I scroll back down, we have the business overview. We've got who owes you money. This would be the accounts receivable. So we're going to be considering the accounts receivable, and we want to consider the accounts receivable by the customer balance. So I'm going to pick the customer balance summary report, which we've seen in the past. We're just going to pick that one up again. We've generated this report. We're going to use that data to make graphs from it now. So I'm going to go back up top. We're going to change the date to a custom date as of 12/31/19, and then we'll run that report. Okay, so here we have it, and you'll remember that this report is going to be tying into basically the balance sheet for accounts receivable. It's giving more detail on the balance sheet for the accounts receivable, breaking that information out by who owes us money, the customers. We're now going to export this to Excel, so we're going to go to the exporting feature, export the information to Excel. Going to open that up. Here is our data. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that data into our other Excel worksheet where we're going to have all of our data at. I'm going to add a new sheet. I'm going to make sure it's on the end. So that's going to be the next sheet. And then I'm going to go back over and pick up our data. I'm going to select the entire worksheet as we've seen in the past, right click and copy it. And then I'm going to go back to the worksheet where we want all of our information that we can then use to print to one PDF file, right click and paste it. So there's going to be our data. This is going to be the AR graph data. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same kind of thing. I'm just going to remove everything we don't need. I'm going to do this pretty quickly, but I just want to give you an idea on how to do this within Excel. I'm going to make this a little bit larger to 130. I'm going to remove the top numbers. I don't need the header. I just want the data. Right click and delete. Then I'm gonna note that this number is 5,281. So I'm gonna delete this cell. I don't need that whole row. I'm gonna say hard code. This should be 5281 at the end of the day for the total. Then I'm gonna hard code these numbers. So you'll see these are formulas. I don't want any formulas, so I'm gonna select the entire row, and I'm gonna copy it. Right click and copy. And then I'm going to paste it right on itself, but paste only the data, the values, not the formulas. I don't need the total row now because that's redundant. So I'm going to say delete the total. Then I'm going to delete any sub cells. So these have basically these two jobs in there. I don't want those. I just want the total. So I'm just going to say I want this to be the name, and then I'm going to delete the detail. Don't want the detail. And then I'm going to do the same down here. I just want the name. I don't want any subtotals, just the detail. So I'm going to delete that. And then if I was to sum this whole thing up, the sum, does it still add up to my total down there? It should be the 52AI. So it doesn't look like I messed up the data. So now I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I typically put a table around it now, so I'll highlight the whole thing, insert, and then go to the tables. I'll insert a table because that helps me to sort it. So I'm going to insert a table. So let's do that one more time. I'm going to insert a table. My table has headers. Now, it doesn't have a header here, so I'm just going to remove the header. And I'm going to say, okay. And then see how it added this new column. And said it added a new column as the header with these sort fields that way. Then oftentimes I'll want to see this information by who owes us the most money. So I'm going to sort the column Z to A. So there's our information. Then I can just simply add a table or a graph here. I can highlight this data now that it's set up the way we want it, insert, and then we're going to go to, typically we'll want to see it in a pie chart, or that's a common way to see this information. And I'm just going to choose a standard one so that we can just see that. And so there we have our standard data. And we could do the same kind of thing here. I could say, well, what if I want the actual percentages in there? I could pick that one. Let's put the percentages in there that way. Again, I see a lot of percentages crowding up here, so maybe I don't need all that information. So maybe I go down here and say, all these that are the smaller ones are at 94460. Maybe I can go up even a little higher. Let's go up to here. That's at 1000. That's too big. Let's go down here and say that's at 944. That's still pretty big. Let's see if we picked up these. This is at 479.60. Let's pick that. 479.60, 479.6. And then if I removed these, then at least you can see them all right there, right? So I can say this would be other. Then I can delete these. And then I can reset the data to adjust our table again. So I want to go to the data, chart design, the data. And I just want to pick up down to here now. And so then I'm going to say, okay. So that looks pretty good. I don't really need the title. So I'm going to remove the title altogether. Oh, I removed the whole thing. That's not good. I just want to delete the title. Just the title, please. So there we have that. And then you could do the same thing. I can add a new tab, and I could say this is going to be our AR graphs, and then I can go to the prior tab, and I can basically copy that thing if I want. So I could say I'd like to copy this and put it on this tab, and I could say that let's see if it fits on a page. It's fitting on a page. And there we have it. And then if you wanted to go back here and hide this column, this whole tab, the data, you can right click and hide it. And then you can print this thing out just showing the graph. And that'll just be right in your standard reports. And it looks pretty nice that way. And then if you want to unhide, you're going to select these two. I'm holding down Shift to select them both. Right click and then unhide. And so there we have that. And then you could do and then you can obviously do another graph, less probably not the standard graph, but you can always do this type of graph as well. For this type of data, this is a less standard for this kind of data. But there's that graph. We could pull that. Whoop, did something funny there. We could pull that down. Maybe we can. We should be able to. We could do it, I swear. I just don't know how. I'm just having troubles. So there we have that. And so there we have our two graphs. We can bring this one up a bit so we can see them both here. All right. And so there are those two. I can copy this and put it on the second page and paste it here. So now we have those graphs there. And we can also put them, if we wanted to put them in our PowerPoint, again, you can have the same kind of stuff you can do with it, right? I can take this data and just copy the graph, right? I can just copy the whole thing. Copy. Maybe put it over here on a blank sheet. I'm just going to paste it as a picture and then manipulate the picture. So common ways you would manipulate it. You might just say, I'm going to copy this again, and I'm going to make the key different so I'm just going to then go to the picture format. I'm going to crop the picture. So I'm going to crop the picture to just see the graph like that maybe. And then I want to just see the key over here. So maybe I just see the key on this side. And so something like that. And then I might want to remove the background by going to picture format, remove background. And then I can select the part I want to keep, which is this. You see everything that's in the pie I would like to keep. Picture background thing, please. Keep that. keep that. This whole piece of pie. I want to keep that piece of pie, please. All right. So there we have that. Something. And then, of course, you can put a header, a title slide on just on your PowerPoint. And then you can do the same for the other slide, for the other graph here. We could say, all right, I want this one. I don't really need a title here. So I'll remove the title. And I'll just take this whole thing, maybe, and copy it. And I'll put it over on my graph. Right click and paste just a picture. And there you have that. And of course, you could do the same thing with the accounts payable. So if I went to back to our data reports, and let's see if we can do this, at least show you start this for the payable, same kind of concept. If I went to who owes you money? No, I want to know what you owe. Now we're doing the payable to the vendors. I'm going to look at the accounts payable, not the aging. We want the vendor balance summary. So vendor balance summary, that's the one we want. All right. I'm going to open up the vendor balance summary report. Going to change the date up top. So we want to I'm just going to make a custom date as of 12/31/19. This is going to be supporting the accounts payable report. There's our data, pretty straightforward. I'm going to go ahead and right click and export that to Excel. Open up Excel. And there it is. I'm gonna put this on our other tab. So I'm gonna make a new tab in our other worksheet. I'm gonna copy the data, selecting the entire sheet, right-clicking and copy. Then I'm gonna put this back on Excel in A1. So I'm in A1. I'm going to paste the entire thing, and that's what we'll work with in a similar fashion. So I'll just delete what I don't need. I'm gonna bring this back up to 130 on the view. I'm going to remove the title. Just going to select the entire column, right click and delete the title. I'm going to just note, I'm going to delete this footer, delete that. Noting it should be 1602.67, so I don't want to mess anything up. Then I'm going to delete the total. We don't have any formulas. This is a really straightforward report, so this will be a nice, easy thing to work with. I'm just going to make that a little smaller. And then we can just simply, we might still want to insert a table so we can sort it easily. So I'm going to insert a table, possibly sort it by who we owe most, Z to A. Then I'll just simply make our little graph on it. I'm going to insert, and we can go to the same pie chart like that. We can clearly put our numbers there. We don't have to do anything to it. That looks good. And then we can make another, and I'm going to get rid of the title. We don't need the title. And then I can make our other common chart, which would be to insert something that looks like something like that. And there we have that. Those are our common charts. And then again, we can put this on another tab. I'm going to get rid of the title. And say that we're going to say this is the data. This is AP graph data. And then I'm going to make another one, which is going to be the AP graphs. And then I'm just going to copy those two. This one and this one, copy them, put them over here. And then I'm going to check to see if they fit on a page. So that looks pretty good. Let's bring this one down. We could make it a little bit larger even. So I'll make that a little bit larger and a little bit larger. And then again, what you could do if you want to print the PDF file is hide, right click and hide this whole tab. And that way you could just print this picture out. You might want the title on it. I'm not formatting this perfectly, but those are some easy ways you can make graphs. So then I'm going to unclick and unhide. And we should be able to give you this Excel sheet when as an example, so you can take a look at what we have here as well.